He has a $10 million bounty on his head. He leads the most dangerous paramilitary organization in the Western Hemisphere, and according to rumors, he might already be dead.
But recently, silence has fallen over the CJNG leadership. Is El Mencho actually running the empire from a hidden bunker in the mountains? Or is he a ghost, a dead man kept alive by his lieutenants to maintain fear and order?
Today on Narco Dynamics, we investigate the economics of a ghost. From a small regional group in Jalisco, the CJNG spread across Mexico with shocking speed. Cities that once belonged to older cartels suddenly woke up to a new reality. Roadblocks, burning vehicles, and heavily armed men declaring that a new order had arrived. To understand why El Mencho's possible death matters, you have to understand what he built. Unlike the Sinaloa cartel, which operates more like a loose federation of families and local bosses, El Mencho structured the CJNG like a paramilitary organization. He adopted something close to a corporate strategy known as vertical integration. The CJNG does not just traffic drugs. They seek to control every step of the chain. The ports where chemical precursors arrive from Asia, the transport routes inside Mexico, the manufacturing labs that produce synthetic drugs, and the distribution networks that reach the United States, Europe, and beyond. This aggressive, business-like expansion made the CJNG one of the wealthiest and most powerful criminal organizations in Mexico. But it also made El Mencho public enemy #1 for both Mexican and U.S. authorities. Starting around 2020, strange reports began to surface. Some claimed that the most feared man in Mexico was not hiding from the Marines, but hiding from his own body. Intelligence leaks and journalistic investigations pointed to a different kind of weakness: kidney failure. According to these reports, El Mencho required regular dialysis. For a cartel leader living in the rugged mountains of Jalisco, that creates a huge problem. Dialysis requires sterile conditions, medical equipment, trained personnel, and a constant flow of supplies. Building and operating a secret hospital in cartel territory is not easy to hide. This logistical nightmare led to what some analysts call the ghost theory. The idea is simple. El Mencho may have died years ago from his health problems, but his inner circle decided to keep his death secret. Why would they do that? Because the CJNG brand is built on his reputation for extreme violence and discipline. El Mencho is not just a person, he is a symbol that holds the alliance together. Without the fear associated with his name, regional bosses might refuse to follow orders, stop paying their dues, or even turn on each other. In this theory, a small group of trusted lieutenants use El Mencho's name as a kind of puppet. They issue commands in his name, negotiate with other groups on his behalf, and threaten enemies with the idea that El Mencho is still watching and ready to retaliate. This is where the economics become crucial. If El Mencho is dead, who is really in charge of the money? The CJNG operates in many regions using a franchise-style model. Local cells and allied groups pay a tax or quota to operate under the CJNG banner. In exchange, they receive protection, access to routes, and the fear that the brand inspires. If central leadership is weak or divided, those franchises may stop paying. They might start keeping more profits for themselves, or even switch sides to rival groups. That erosion of central control can trigger infighting and fragmentation. There are already signs of this in states like Michoacán and Colima. Conflicts between groups that once marched under the same flag suggest that some regional commanders are acting more independently. Public threats, shifting alliances, and local turf wars all hint that the grip from the top may not be as firm as it once was. For governments, this creates a paradox. On paper, taking down a kingpin is a victory. But if the kingpin was the main force keeping an empire unified, their death can unleash multiple smaller wars as rivals fight for territory and revenue. So, is El Mencho dead? The uncomfortable truth is that, in practical terms, it may not matter. The roots he established, the corrupt networks inside institutions, the paramilitary structure he designed, and the profit streams he opened up are all bigger than one man. The CJNG machine can keep turning, even if his original architect is gone. El Mencho has become more than a person. He is now a brand name for terror and control. That brand can be used by whoever holds the levers of power inside the organization, whether he is alive in a hidden compound or buried in an unmarked grave. What really matters is not the heartbeat of one individual, but the system that allowed him to rise in the first place. As long as there is demand, corruption, and weak institutions, someone will be ready to step into the role that El Mencho once played. What do you think? Is the CJNG hiding the death of their leader to prevent a civil war inside the cartel? Or is he still out there, watching silently from the shadows? Share your thoughts, and if you want to understand the money and strategy behind these organizations, not just the headlines, make sure to subscribe.